Welcome to Reality Creator Video. I'm Hermes. Today we're going to be talking about alchemy, and we're going to talk about colloidal copper today. Now, copper. There are three kinds of copper that I use. Well, two. One is still experimental, probably will always remain experimental. This is colloidal cyan. If you can see the cyan color, okay. This is colloidal green. All right, let's put them side by side, okay. If that doesn't come out so well, I will add pictures. And this is my experimental colloidal copper. Colloidal copper brown. Now, history of my colloidals and copper. I started out with cyan, colloidal cyan. All right. Well, like everybody else, I went on the internet, saw what I could find about how to make colloidal copper, and well, proceeded to do it. Basically, the videos were not very informative as far as exactly how to do it, like everything else. You take distilled water, you put the copper rods in there, and you sprinkle some citric acid in there. Look like about a teaspoon for a half gallon or something like that, and cook it until it turns into this cyan color. So that's what I did. And let me tell you, sprinkle, I'm not one, like you said, I like labs quality stuff, and I'm not one for sprinkle this and see what happens. Well, I have to tell you, the first batch of colloidal cyan copper that I made was like the waste product on this thing was tremendous. I mean, I had to clean the copper rods every 10 minutes to get the oxidation off of them. And it would only cook to a certain point. That light cyan that you saw. And no matter how long I cooked it. And the taste was horrible. So, anyway, the copper, was okay. That was my first foray with it. And I was really very unhappy with the amount of waste product that this thing had. And, well, the taste, I didn't know if there was anything I could do about that with the taste. There are two ways to make colloidal, well, on the internet. One is with citric acid, and the other is with vinegar, adding vinegar. Now, weirdly as it is, the citric acid gives you the colloidal copper cyan. The vinegar gives you colloidal green, copper green. What's the difference between those two? Didn't really know until I got this new piece of equipment here, which I'll show a picture of that, the microscope, the video microscope, where I'm able to actually look at the colloidals and the solutions and see the parts per million and what's going on there. So basically, colloidal copper wasn't very dense fluid. Not a lot of copper in there. You call it a mild form of copper. The colloidal green had a lot more copper particles in it. You know what happens but both methods were no good, because no matter how much you cooked the mixture, you could only get a certain amount of of colloidals in the mixture, and the waste on both was tremendous. I mean, literally, you were just burning up your copper rods trying to make this stuff. So we've been working with this stuff for a long time. Finally, I found, through trial and error, I found a method that I can cook now colloidal green. I can cook it in probably a half hour, as opposed to the 2 hours to cook it the other way. And there's very little oxidation. And because there's very little oxidation, the taste is not bad. Apparently, the more oxidation you have when you cook copper, the stronger the taste is going to be. Now, I can put my colloidal green under the microscope, and it has a lot of stuff going on there. Well, very high density parts per million colloidal copper. And I have to say, out of all of them, the green works the best. The new green, not the old green. Now, the problem I had with the old method using the citric acid and the vinegar was I could not keep the colloidals in the solution. After about 30 days, they start falling out. The colloidals will start falling out. I don't know if that's because of the method that is used or whatever, but it got very annoying, when I get a call from my sister or my brother saying that is colloidal copper is separating. I tried everything. I tried putting it in glass, putting it in plastic, voodoo on top of it, nothing helped. It still fell out. But the colloidal green, what I had made with the new process, seems to hold. Well, knock wood. Health-wise, the green seems to work much better than the cyan, from a personal standpoint. We'll get to that later. There's a third kind of copper, which is copper brown. Now, this is experimental copper brown, okay? Now, the way I made copper brown was I was online and I saw an ad that said colloidal copper made only with water as the main ingredient. I said, well, I wonder what would happen if I just cooked colloidal copper with only water as an ingredient instead of putting any of my household chemicals into it. So I did that. 10 hours later, 10 hours later, I had a bottle of this, you probably can't see it, but this brown colored liquid. Now, this had no oxidation at all when I was cooking it, and consequently has no taste whatsoever. You can't taste the copper in here. But, laser-wise, let's see, laser-wise. All right, there we go. Laser-wise, as you can see, this sucker has got stuff in it. Lots of stuff. This is probably about a 30 parts per million copper solution here. The problem with the brown is the same problem I had with cooking this cyan and the green using citric acid or vinegar. It doesn't stay in the solution. This one's worse. Copper brown is worse. Every day I got brown stuff falling out onto the bottom of this, and every day I filter it, and I want to see how far this is going to get over time to see if I got a clear liquid with no colloidals left in it. So the bottom line is, right now, I have only one process, my copper green process, that actually keeps the colloidals in the solution. So that's probably, right now I have a whole bunch of this copper cyan left, and so I'm going to probably mix the cyan and the green for a bit until I'm out of the cyan, and then I'm just probably going to cook green. But, I'll let you know how we make out with this brown stuff. About the only thing I've used this brown stuff for is I put it in shampoo. Copper in shampoo is supposed to be good for your hair. I don't know. I'm not using it that long in my shampoo, so I couldn't actually tell you. So copper, and generally, its benefits for copper are, it's very good at oxygenating the blood. This is the main reason for copper. And you don't need a lot of copper, colloidal copper in your system. A teaspoon a day, probably, for most people. Unless you're an allergy sufferer like me. If you're an allergy sufferer like me, then you're going to need a little bit more colloidal copper in your body. Now what I do, hold on, let me get the magic thing. I have this stuff called, nasal spray. I take my colloidal copper, I mix it with some colloidal gold and some colloidal silver. It produces this light purplish stuff. Put it in nasal spray and I will up my nose about once every 4 hours. And believe me, this stuff is fantastic. Knock wood, I am no longer on Benadryl. I am no longer on Flonase, any of the allergy medicines. I just use the spray every now and then. You could probably get away with just, if you didn't have the other colloidals, I'd say you could probably get away with just using the copper in the spray. Anyway, so copper is very good for your immune system. It's an immune system booster or fixer, I want to say. And it's good for transmitting other colloidals throughout the body. Like if you got colloidal gold or colloidal silver in your body, having a little bit of copper, just that teaspoon of copper a day, and your body will enable those colloidals to get into your cells more easily. So that is the benefits of colloidal copper. That's my history with colloidal copper and what I've discovered. So as I learn more about copper, I will let you know that copper is an ongoing thing. I mean, some of my other colloidals like silver and gold, there's not much left to discover on those, outside of the things I'm discovering looking at it on the video scope, the video microscope. I'm going to share some of those videos with you too, and some of my thoughts over time. So that's about it. Just wanted to touch bases with all of you. Tell you about colloidal copper. I'm Hermes. This is Reality Creative Video, and have a really good day.